Hello, ho, ho, everybody. It's Christmas, I guess. Adam Clery here from FourFourTwo, and I don't know if you've heard about this, but Arsenal are very good at set pieces. And the man behind all of that, we are told, is this man here, one Nicolas Jover. He's never kicked a ball in his life, not professionally. He's a nerd with a laptop, but you know what? So am I. And he might well be the man single-handedly keeping Arsenal in the title race. And that is outrageous hyperbole. Yes, I already regret saying it, but it is going to make for a good video. Now, first off, very, very quickly, some housekeeping. I've seen the messages, I've got all the comments. Where are the videos, Adam? Why aren't you posting as much? It's Christmas, and loads of other people use the studio, and they're all trying to do all that fun product stuff. So here I am, right before I go to five-a-side on a Thursday night, after everyone else has gone home, doing this for you. And we've got a lot of fun stuff planned for you over Christmas, so just bear with us. But anyway, yes, this is Arsenal, which you are no doubt familiar with if you support Arsenal. And no real interesting point here, just not going to use the 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗧𝗏 table much in this video, so just reminding you it's there. Now this is an image you will have seen plenty of times by now. Arsenal are getting ready for a corner. They've grossly overloaded the back post. It's delivered as an in-swinger, and it goes in. It is proving to be about as hard to defend as getting caught tugging yourself off on public transport, but it keeps happening, and that is because of Nicolas Jover. He never really played the game, not at this or any other level. He was a video analyst at 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝗍 in his youth, and he wound up at Brentford. Remember me saying Brentford. Then he went to Man City, where he met 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝗍𝗏, and then he followed him to Arsenal. And actually, I'm just going to use the 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗧𝗏 pitch for a second, because at the start of the season, like 2 seasons ago, these were some of the players you regularly saw featured for Arsenal. Alexander Zinchenko, Emil Smith-Rowe, 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗍𝗏. Kieran Tierney got a lot of minutes, Granit Xhaka as well, Rob Holding, remember him? And the one thing all these players have in common is that they're not very big and they're not very beefy. And so one of the main things that Jover has helped to influence is this ability to exploit set pieces for goals. And now the Arsenal squad has a completely different physical makeup, like Ricardo Calafiori's come in, Declan Rice has come in, Kai Havertz has come in, Mikel Merino, Ben White, even Jurrien Timber, who's not actually that tall, is still physically a hell of a specimen. He's got a great leap on him. He's excellent in the air. And now you got Arsenal fans singing Set Piece FC. There's a fucking mural to him. A mural to a set piece coach and a data analyst. As I live and breathe. Deservedly so, because some numbers for you, Arsenal are the best at this in the world. The goal against Fulham last week took them to over 42 corner goals in the Premier League since the summer of 2021 when he joined. 8 more than the next nearest team and loads more than pretty much everybody else. This season they're already top with 7, including 2 against Man United the week before. Like, it's not a statistical anomaly, it's something they're working on over and over and over again and seeing the rewards of. So, and I presume this is why you actually clicked on the video, let's discuss what it is they're working on and why that's so good. Now, they do always tend to follow the same core principles, which I'm about to discuss, but like all great things, they come in a few different flavours that are tailored based on the opposition or the personnel available. But what is consistent, the key thing to note, is A, the delivery, and B, the roles of everyone involved. Now, this right here is your prime example. Arsenal set up with 2 men on the edge of the box, 1 runner around the penalty spot, then everybody else just gathered in a big amorphous blob, usually at the far post, but sometimes at the front. Now, here is what that looks like against West Ham, a team who almost exclusively defend man-to-man. So all the really big lads in there have someone assigned to them. That's Havertz, Saliba, Calafiori, and that is Antonio, I think. Get well soon, buddy, genuinely, from everybody here at FourFourTwo. He's sizing up Gabriel. Now, you'll notice Timber and Trossard are free in this equation. That's because they're the 2 smallest men in this equation. So when West Ham were doing the planning during the week, they simply won't have assigned players to them. And that's no disrespect to Leandro Trossard, by the way. The guy's only 1 inch shorter than me, which I virtually never get to say. I wonder if that means I've got a chance with Anne Hathaway.
1-0. Sorry. Trossard.
Oh, I love you! But anyway, yes, I'll send that DM later. This is the exact same situation against Nottingham Forest, who, unlike West Ham, have a purely zonal marking system. So you can see, instead, this time, absolutely nobody is marked, but the process and the setup is exactly the same. Now, in both of these, you will note that Gabriel is in amongst it, rather than being on the penalty spot assigned to 1 man trying to make the run, and that's one of the ways they tailor the set piece. Basically, what Arsenal will do is they will look at who is likely to be assigned to Gabriel and decide whether or not he has a clear physical advantage against them. If he does, like he's got a better leap, or he's quicker, or he's just smarter in those areas, they'll put him on the penalty spot. But if it's somebody who's really good at defending crosses or just an excellent man marker, they will stick him in amongst it. Like, case in point here, the North London derby, Tottenham decided to stick Christian Romero on 𝗘𝗫𝗧 rather than Mickey van de Ven. He was on 𝗘𝗫𝗧. So they were like, okay, clear physical advantage there. Bigger, stronger, better leap. Let's put him in that position. But then you go back to the Forest one, who've got a lot of big lads that decided it wasn't worth it. But regardless, my friends, of where 𝗘𝗫𝗧 is in this equation, he is always, if he's on the pitch, the main target of the cross. Everyone else, and this is determined by a signal from the taker, then rushes to either the near or the far post, trying to create a path for him. And the main idea behind this is pretty simple. Like, they'll all rush an area, create a path, he'll then get into that space. He's got a very nice, neat, clean header into the goal. But the reason you sort of congregate everyone in the 6-yard box is that if the delivery is not perfect or 𝗘𝗫𝗧 doesn't beat his marker, you're creating absolute chaos in that scenario. The Man United example, when they nearly went ahead from just skimming off Xerxes' head, that's kind of like a plan B in that situation. If we don't win it cleanly, someone might win it messily. And if they do, well, we're in the 6-yard box, so like, goal's only there, might just fall in. They all count. But that is fundamentally what makes these Arsenal set-piece ideas different from how everybody else does it. Because if you spread your players all over the box and you try and get the ball into that area, if you're even slightly off your intended target, nobody's going to win it. It bounces through, it goes to somebody else. It's very, very inaccurate. But if everybody's in the same place and the delivery is to one man in that area, you've got a far bigger margin for error. I'll give you a textbook example of this, right? The other week, Arsenal played Ruben Amorim's Sporting Lisbon. How long ago does that feel? And they scored this. Now, Arsenal have obviously decided there is a physical advantage from 𝗘𝗫𝗧, and even looking at this still image, there absolutely is. So he goes on the penalty spot to run. And also, I should have mentioned that the reason they want to do that, if possible, is because if you've got a run on the situation, you get a much better leap. It's much easier to attack the ball than 10 players who are all standing still trying to fight for space. Now, you got 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 on the edge of the box here, and the reason for that is they're like Arsenal's two best sort of passers and crossers of a ball in like tight situations. So if it does come out and they get pressed straight away, they're probably the most likely to be able to jink around somebody and put it back in. Like, Declan Rice's deliveries are excellent, but he's not that guy. Now, Sporting are zonal here, so at the back post they are already massively outnumbered. These 2, maybe 3 players are all going to have to deal with Saliba, Partey, Havertz, Calafiori and Martinelli, and there's basically 4 lads at the near post who are just about to get immediately bypassed. Now, right, watch this. The arm goes up from Declan Rice and everyone knows what to do. That is the signal to flood the back post area and basically crush everybody into the centre. So now, once they've done that, not a single one of these players, Arsenal or Sporting, can get any further back across than about this line here, leaving this bit of room, which is exactly where 𝗘𝗫𝗧, who correctly identified has the physical advantage over the man who's marking him, is more or less free to get to. And if I'm making it sound like it's really simple and everybody should just do that, you can't. Like, the amount of training and practice and preparation and everything that goes into this is near superhuman. Like, 𝗘𝗫𝗧 has to make that run exactly on time. The delivery has to be absolutely perfect. The coordination from all these other players to do the exact same thing at the exact same time. It's nigh on impossible to get right once, and Arsenal are doing it every single week almost. And what I love so much about this goal, right, is 𝗘𝗫𝗧, great header, bullet straight into the net. If he'd mistimed that run, if he hadn't got there or he just missed his header, Kai Havertz, who didn't go in with the crush because they had men to spare, will just tap that in. And obviously, on top of all of this talk about coordination and training and set-piece routines and yada, 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 you have to take a second to appreciate 𝗘𝗫𝗧 as a footballer. Saliba fills in really, really well. I think you saw that in the Fulham game. Like, that positioning's really good. His design when the ball's great, great, great. But 𝗘𝗫𝗧 stands out to me. A little bit of a freak. Little bit of a total freak when it comes to attacking the ball. Like, his drive, his aggression, his leap, it's just every physical element of him in that situation. It's amazing. But of course, still, it isn't all about 𝗘𝗫𝗧, because a corner is only ever as good as the person delivering it in. And in the deliveries, Arsenal have also got a secret weapon. Going to bring up the FB ref thing for all the corners that all the Premier League teams have had this season, and you'll see that Arsenal they're up there. They've had a lot of corners this year, but they've had like 30 less than Manchester City, so they're not like the most prolific getter of corners or anything. But what should jump out at you is this column here, right? Arsenal are the most prolific haverers of in-swinging corners. They almost never, ever outswing it, play it straight, take it short, anything like that. Every time they can set this up, they do. And in fact, the only team in the league to have less in-swingers than Arsenal, the only other team doing this as much as they are, remember how I said remember Brentford? That was Nicolas Jover's former team. That's a legacy. 20 more in-swinging corners this season than any other team. That's like 1.5 per game. I can't be bothered to do the maths properly. And just Saka and Rice are so accurate with these, and that is as much a part of what makes them as anyone attacking the ball. Like, they're not insanely pacey or beautifully whipped. They haven't got this amazing curl on them. They're not like those David Beckham corners you used to try and do in the garden when you were like 7 years old. They're actually pretty straightforward. They're just so consistent. Just to put all of that in numbers for you, right? 96% of all their corners swing in, and on average, by the time that ball gets into the box, they have the most number of players in the 6-yard area of any team attacking a corner. 3.82 players, if you can imagine 0.82 of a player, in the 6-yard box every single time on average. Like, for context, the most prolific corner takers in the Premier League, Manchester City, have 1.5 players in the box, 6-yard box, every time. Yes. And the reason I mention Man City there, by the way, isn't just because they have lots of corners, it's because they also have loads and loads of very big, beefy lads. They also did that transfer policy of getting rid of most of, like, sort of little, dainty, nice, clever, tricky players, and instead have a back four full of centre-backs, have big Erling Haaland up front. Like, they prioritised height, they prioritised physicality, because, again, who worked there? Nicolas Jover. One final, completely undata-led or statistical point that I like to make every time I see this happen, right? Why do you think they really prioritise that back post area more than the front post? I'll tell you why. Fucking eyes. It's the eyes. If you're defending a corner, I don't know if you've ever played football, but if you're defending a corner, you have to look at the ball at some point. Like, you need to know when it's being taken. You need to know where it is in the sky. You need to know what the threat is, right? And if you are marking a player side on, you can just turn your head like that, can't you? You look at both. But if the positioning of the player and the positioning of the ball puts you smack bang in the middle of the two, you physically cannot turn your head like that. You have to rotate your entire body around, including your feet, to get a view and keep an eye on both of them. And when that happens, you just can't do these things effectively. You can't know where the player is, or you can't know where the ball is. And again, such a simple concept. Just put them in a position where they can't see both things, but executed so consistently, brilliantly. Like, the whole thing you have to say about Arsenal with set pieces isn't that they're doing anything staggeringly clever or brilliantly innovative. It's just that they're doing very simple things very consistently and with unbelievable execution. Like, I have seen already quite a lot of people going, these Arsenal set pieces, they're really good. Why isn't every team just doing that? It looks simple enough, and that's because it takes a lot of time. It's coming. Don't worry, you're going to see every single team try and do this soon, but you can't just do it tomorrow. This needs worked on. You need the profiles in your squad. You need to have practiced it to death. And Arsenal are 2.5 seasons down that line now, which is why they're so good at it. But final point I'd like to make, how do you defend against it? Is there a simple way to do this? And no, there's not, that anybody has found yet, but I do have 2 suggestions for any set-piece coaches or Premier League managers who may be watching this. Now, first off, the corner Arsenal scored against West Ham went to VAR for this push by Jurrien Timber. Now, I think if that West Ham defender throws himself on the floor and makes a massive meal out of that, I think that gets overturned. Like, the referee maybe even sees it in real time, or if it goes to VAR, they go, yeah, that looked a lot. Arsenal were a little bit lucky to get away with that, I thought. So one solution you might want to do, and Porto tried this in the Champions League, is as soon as all that contact starts, as soon as the rush comes into the box, everybody just fall over. If you are in any way infringed, in any way pushed, if any way moved around, That's supposed to be a foul, just flopped to the ground. It would take a referee with bollocks that big to not blow that whistle. Now, it is, of course, incredibly risky, because if you do get a referee with bollocks that big, or just a VAR booth, who are sick of players going down in the 6-yard box when they've got a hand in their back, Gabriel, then it might get overturned and you've just let a team who are really good at set pieces get the easiest set piece goal you've ever seen. Another possible solution, which I will hold my hands up, I completely missed and was pointed out to me by Michael Day, who was editing this video. Michael, please put a quick picture of yourself up on the screen so all the boys and girls can say thank you for editing the video. Thanks, Michael. He was at the Monaco game and they left loads of players up the other end of the pitch. And the thought process behind that is very, very, very clever, in my opinion, because if you are outnumbered in terms of, I'll say it again, big beefy boys, then you need to stop them having that many in the box. And if they've got to leave as many players up as you leave up, then all of a sudden, the amount of big beefy boys is going to be lower. And to be fair to Monaco, who did get beat 3-0, yes, they did not concede a goal from a set piece against Arsenal, which right now, let's go catch, makes them a bit of an anomaly. Anyway, yes, so there you go. If you've ever wondered just how much can one man over-explain a single corner routine, basically getting 15 minutes of video out of about 16 seconds of footage, there's your answer. I just did it. Ages. If you like this sort of nonsense, you can get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, Clery, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, maybe Google me. I keep doing that tease. I'm doing something very exciting. You should go and look it up and you should do something with that. None of my business though. 442 socials, they're in the corner of the video. The new magazine is in 𝗕𝗏𝗡s. Great stocking filler, if I do say so myself, and I'm not even someone who wears stockings that I'll ever admit to. Slightly losing my mind here. Please do subscribe to us here on 442. More subscribers makes us do more things. More subscribers lets us show the people who schedule the studio time that we should be in here more. So if you could click on that, that would be really, really helpful, and we'd probably get some more videos out of it. Until next time though, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Please do enjoy spotting all of this stuff. The next time Arsenal line up for a set piece, I have been Adam Clery. You've been frankly beautiful in my opinion, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye!